Well, the cars are now moving off on their warm-up lap. They'll do one circuit of the 3.778 kilometre Adelaide track. Then they'll regroup in their order, and the Australian Grand Prix, the 500th Grand Prix held in the World Formula One Championship, will be underway. 81 laps is the number of times they go round and round. It's a long race, and a few of the drivers this morning have been expressing that thought. Well, they say, you know, we'll take it easy on the early laps because there's a long way to go.
I think the driver fatigue will become a factor here today, Evan, really.
We saw this, 2 years ago, I think Gerhard Berger, when he won the Grand Prix, he really nearly had to be helped out. I know he had the flu over that weekend, but he was absolutely drained after he'd completed the race because it was about a 32-degree day.
Yes, dehydration will be a factor, I'm sure, as Allan Moffat was alluding to before. The car's now just winding round on the far side of the circuit. Not many of them worrying to put heat into the tyres. It's probably coming out fairly naturally. There's a little bit of wavering going on, but they have to maintain order, of course. On
good ambient today, Evan, does help on a hot day. They do naturally just sitting there on that tarmac, which would be much more than 35 degrees. It's they've got 50 degrees in them already. Just a little minimal amount of weaving on Brabham Straight.
Yes, we saw John Alesi really giving the car a bit of a thrust, which seems to suggest he's looking for a quick start. If he can get the power down and get away quickly, he would be hoping then to improve on his position on the grid. He's on the third row, right behind Mansell, so he'll be looking for a gap between Mansell and Prost. If either of them make a slow start, then we can expect to see the blue and white Tyrrell nosing its way up so that he can get close to either Berger or Senna in the front row. He'd like to be, I would think, about third or fourth by the end of the first lap, particularly going down Brabham Straight where he doesn't quite have the speed of the other cars.
And of course, Prost had a very good start in the Japanese Grand Prix 2 weeks ago.
Didn't do him much good on the first corner.
That's right. I mean, he's behind Berger at the moment. What type of tactics is Prost going to employ? I mean, it's really, he's the professor, he sit backs and...
He'll stay back.
He might, well, I disagree with you, Evan. I think he must jump. I think he'll be looking for the start of his life. I think he'll want to get up there and make sure that he is going to give Senna a run for his money.
I was suggesting that he won't do anything silly, that he'll stay
I don't
back.
think he'll do anything silly, but I think he'll be really looking for a start. He won't be playing around.
The cars are on the grid now. They've taken their position. It's a staggered start, which means that number one Senna has a space of more than 1.5 car lengths over Gerhard Berger in the second spot. And then behind them we have the Nigel Mansell car and Alain Prost, the two Ferraris in the next line. So then behind them, John Alesi and Riccardo Patrese in the Williams Renault, a driver we haven't spoken much about. He's in his 208th Grand Prix, the most experienced driver here in the field. And the field now just coming round the corner to fill up the last spaces. David Brabham in 25th spot is taking his place on the last row. Alongside him, Gabriel Tarquini. The starter now has indicated the field is here. The red light's on, waiting for the green. And the Australian Grand Prix starts, and a great start by Mansell and Prost. They made a good start as Berger, who bogged down, and right alongside him is Alain Prost, but Berger gets going again, gets into second spot, so it is Senna well clear. Then it is his teammate Berger in second spot, then the two Ferraris, Prost in front of Mansell, and then I think it's Piquet who has made a very good start and is right up and in fact has nudged Alesi out of his place. So it's Senna in front. And he already has a lead of about 10 car lengths as they go up towards Eastern Terrace. Well, Allan Moffat, that was a good start by
He did.
Third spot.
I don't know why I had that feeling, but he did. And if Berger hadn't have bogged him down, he would have been even closer. Senna has got a nice leap, nicely guarded by Berger, but Prost now will be on the straight, within sight of Senna, and that's what he wants on these opening laps. He doesn't want to let him go off there and just do whatever he can and have that psychological advantage of seeing such a big gap from the lead. But it's certainly, here's a replay. Replay for us, but not for the rest of you.
A driver who made an extraordinarily good start was Terry Boutsen, last year's winner, in 9th place, and he's up to about 6th. I think he's picked up a couple of cars there. He's right behind his teammate Riccardo Patrese. Boutsen, of course, going to Ligier next year, his last drive for Williams. He's not very happy with the team, so he'd like to finish on a high note. In the meantime, Senna is certainly on a high note, now has a lead of maybe 20 car lengths as they come round to the final hairpin, and the first lap we'll see then as the leader, the new world champion, Ayrton Senna. He goes across the line now, 80 laps to go. Behind him, his teammate, well back, is Gerhard Berger. Nigel Mansell is got by Alain Prost. He's moving up into third spot. Prost is fourth. Nelson Piquet, after a dynamic start, is fifth. Riccardo Patrese, John Alesi, Terry Boutsen, Roberto Moreno in the second of the Benettons, and in 10th spot, Derek Warwick in the Lotus Lamborghini. They're the leading 10 at the moment. David Brabham, we haven't yet picked up his place, but he's still running, and